Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Covenant Church Homebuyer Seminar. My name is Eric Frazier, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and it's a great day to talk about real estate. I'm the president and CEO of the Powers Now Media, and this broadcast will be available on the powersnow.com and all mobile devices under the Powers Now TV in the very near future. We appreciate those of you who are joining us today, and we certainly hope that you'll share future seminars at buyhomeseminars.com, buyhomeseminars.com. Now, in addition to being the president of the Powers Now Media, I'm also a vice president and mortgage advisor with First Bank. My license number is 461807. The views and opinions that I express today on this platform are my own, do not necessarily represent that of First Bank. First Bank is a co-sponsor of this event, and we'll be talking about First Bank related products today to help you get into a home. Now, this seminar is the Covenant Worship, our Covenant Church seminar, and this is the third seminar that we have done with Bishop Kelly Woods, and I appreciate him so much for his advocacy of homeownership and actually being a participant in the homeownership program himself and his family. And so Bishop is all in when it comes to helping members of the church and members of his community become homeowners. And I appreciate him for allowing us to partner to get this great information out today. So we're going to start with Bishop Woods, and then he's going to open us up with a word of prayer and share his thoughts. And then we're going to bring on Carolyn Censori, who is also an advocate for homeownership. We have been working together for a number of years, and she is all in as well in making sure that the programs and the support that the Golden State Finance Authority has to offer is known and being utilized by everyone. And so without any further ado, we're going to bring on Bishop Kelly Woods.
Well, good morning, Eric, and to everyone. What a grand and wonderful morning it is. I am so excited to be on this broadcast and to represent Covenant Church, as well as to give my own experience with the Powers Now and with this process with the Golden State Finance Authority for home ownership. I am certainly a client. I'm a spokesman and a client. and I remember one of my favorite movies, Jerry Maguire. And there, Cuba Gooding Jr. is playing a football player, and he's talking to his agent on the phone, and he says, "Show me the money, right. Show me the money." And that has always been my thoughts. When you show me the money, then you have my advocacy. And certainly, Eric, and this program with the Golden State and the whole process of getting people into homes and first-time home buyers has definitely shown the money. That has been a reality in a purchase of a new home for myself personally in 2020, and certainly for my daughter. My 27-year-old daughter was able to get into a beautiful, beautiful new home in 2021. And so I'm working on my son now. The girls sometimes go a little faster, but that's another conversation. But and that whole thought is just that we want everyone that possibly can, and those who think they can't, to explore the idea of home ownership, move towards it, make it a goal, because it is certainly how we develop wealth in our communities. So with that, let's have a word of prayer, and I've got just a little word I want to give you. That I'm going to pitch it back to Eric. But before that, I got something I think that's going to really be inspirational to you. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your love and kindness, the one who is El Shaddai, the one who is the nurturer, the one who makes ways for us. And so we thank you for your kindness. And with all of the things that are going on in the world, with wars and rumors of wars, troops on the ground in Europe, the gas prices being high, and all the different things, inflation, that God, you have yet carved out a place for your people. You said that you will make a way for your people, even in the midst of famine. So, Father, even in these tumultuous times, in these perplexing times, our trust is in you. And God, we will do our part, recognizing that faith without works is dead. So we will do our part, and then we will trust in your sovereign, supernal power with the rest. In the name of Jesus, we pray it. Amen.
Amen.
I wanted to begin today by recalling a discourse between Jesus and his disciples. One of the most famous portions of scripture. It is called the Upper Room Discourse. And if you're not a theologian, that was the place where Jesus met with his disciples before he was crucified, in an upper room. From that, the Christian sacrament of communion came from that. That was the place where Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. That was the place that Jesus told his disciples he would go away and he would come to them again. Very, very profound passage of scripture in the book of St. John. But Jesus gave his disciples some very hopeful words that I believe connect the heavenly with the earthly, you know, or to use a big word, the celestial with the terrestrial, you know, that the things concerning heaven, the kingdom of God, eternal life, all the things that we hold so precious as Christians, they're not something that happens just when we get to heaven. It's not a pie in the sky kind of faith. It's not a we'll get all our benefits and blessings in the sweet by and by. You know, we sing a song in our churches for years. You know, by and by when the morning comes, when all the saints. No, God says there is an arc. There is an extension that goes from earth to glory, starts on earth and culminates in heaven. And the idea is that God's kingdom, God's benefits, God's wealth starts here. And then the transition takes place into eternality. So therefore, the temporal is just overshadowed with eternal. What are you talking about, Bishop? It means that the benefits, the blessings, the health, the wealth, the happiness, all these things, they start now. And then they are manifested to a greater eternal degree when we get to heaven. So Jesus talks to his disciples and he says something very profound in St. John 14. He said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go to prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way you know. I don't have time to break all of that down. I could spend the whole hour just on that, but I'll just give you about 5 minutes of it. Jesus is comforting his disciples in an earthly setting, saying that I'm going away, but it's okay. I'm coming again. But what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to my Father's house. And in my Father's house are many mansions. Throughout the Bible, because the Bible is a spiritual book, our sacred book. It's a spiritual book. It has spiritual things, but in order for us to understand these things, God has to put them in very tactical and very practical terms. Houses, hands, ears, eyes. In theological terms, another big word, they're called anthropomorphisms. He puts them in these ideas and terms we understand. Mm-hmm. So when he says house, the word there for house and mansion is not some 10-bedroom house as we would think it. It means much room. So in my Father's house, there is much room. And he said, if it were not so, I would have told you. But the Father's house, the Father's kingdom, the Father's economy doesn't start when we get to heaven. The Father's house, the Father's kingdom, the Father's economy starts here on earth. So in my Father's house, which we are already a part of as the children of God, it is already said there is much room. And the idea is in the heavenly sense that there is room for everybody who wants to participate. Mm-hmm. There's room for everybody who wants to go to heaven and to be a part of that eternality. Well, in the terrestrial sense, in the earthly sense, that is true. In my Father's house, there's much room. There's room for everybody who wants to participate in this Father's house, kingdom economy. I'll run that again. This Father's house, kingdom economy. There's room. Whether you think you have the background or the pedigree, or whether you have the education or the money, whether you think your family hasn't been homeowners or your family hasn't owned things or you've never seen this before, you've never seen it successful. He says that in his house, there is room for you too. There is room for you even in the midst of rising prices. There's room for you even in the midst of your credit maybe having some challenges and you having to put that together. There's room for you even as you are matriculating through school saying, hey, I want to graduate, get a good job and get a home. There's room for you even when you're going through the promotion process at your job, trying to get that. There's room for you to be able to be in the Father's house. And in the Father's house, the Bible says it like this: in his presence is fullness of joy, and in his right hand are pleasures forevermore. So what that means, that everything that God has on earth, cattle of 1,000 hills are his, everything belongs to him, that is afforded to you as well. So I want to close with that idea that there is room for you. Don't think that you are carved out, iced out, lined out, redlined out. Eric's going to be talking about that in the next couple of months. Don't think that you are excluded because Jesus said, I've already made room for you. You just got to walk in it and you can believe it. And he said, if it were not so, I wouldn't have told you. And then on top of all of that, right here on earth, he's going to give us our greatest reward when we see him face to face in heaven. I hope you enjoyed that one. Much room for you. Much room.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Pastor, for that wonderful word, that encouraging word. There is room for you. And I think that's what these seminars are all about, to make it known that there is room, there is opportunity, there is money, there is support to enjoy the benefits that God has made available to all of us. And man, what a powerful message. Thank you so much for partnering with the Powers Now, with First Bank, with Golden State. And I love when we do these church homebuyer seminars, Carolyn, because I mean, where can you go? What homebuyer seminar can you go and hear a message like that to kick it off? You're on mute.
It's very true, and it's very motivational when you look at it through this perspective, and that really is the key to getting started on a journey to home ownership, is believing in your ability to do it. You know, focusing your energy and motivating yourself to get the information and then pursue that dream. And so I am pleased to be here with all of you today to address our listeners about, you know, taking that first step, which is to motivate yourself and believe that there is room for you, that you also have this opportunity in front of you.
Amen, Carolyn. Amen, Bishop Woods. There is wood for you. In fact, what a great segue to Carolyn to talk about the opportunities that have been available now for some 30 years. And so we're going to transition to you, Carolyn. For those of you who are just tuning in or watching, this is the Covenant Church Homebuyer Seminar, where you just heard from Kelly Woods, who is the pastor of the Covenant Church in Berkeley, California. And Bishop, before we transition to Carolyn, can you tell us a little bit about the church's location and how individuals who are watching may want to reach out to you?
Yes, I am the pastor and bishop of Covenant Church, 2618 San Pablo Avenue, Berkeley, California. We are the church on a mission. We operate as a missional church, the hands and the feet, the arms and the legs and the mouthpiece of Jesus in the earth. We believe that that is our mission. And you can get in touch with us at our website, thecovberkeley.org. The Cov, C-O-V, Berkeley.org. All the information is there. Come see us. 2 Sunday morning services in person, 8 a.m. and 11, and 11 a.m. online at that same address, thecovberkeley.org, on Facebook, as well as YouTube, and a full Wednesday night service, our midweek worship experience, 7 p.m., praise and worship, teaching, preaching. It's just a dynamic time, and our doors are wide open. So feel free to come in and feel comfortable that any health concerns for COVID are being addressed, and you can worship God freely and at Covenant Church. I'd love to see you.
Thank you, Bishop. Folks, we've had the opportunity to go to Covenant Worship and to participate in their worship services. I've been there a number of times. Bishop Woods is a dynamic preacher, as you have seen already, and has a thriving ministry there. I encourage you to go to Covenant Church in Berkeley and get spiritually fed. Next up is Carolyn Censori, and I can't say enough about Carolyn Censori. We've been working together now for over 2 years, and she is an advocate. I can tell you without fear or contradiction, she is an advocate. She works tirelessly on getting the word out about down payment assistance, and she knows firsthand, having testimonial after testimonial after testimonial of individuals who have been blessed by the support that the Golden State Finance Authority is able to provide. Carolyn and I embarked a year ago on a series called the Affordable Housing Series with Golden State Finance Authority, and we have 4 of those series, a 4-part series. The 5th part is in production now, in which we get into the details of the Golden State Open Door Program, the Platinum Program, and about the Golden State Finance Authority. You can find those videos on the Golden State website, as well as on the Power Is Now website, as well as on any mobile device. I want to encourage you to download the Power Is Now TV. Power Is Now TV on your mobile device, and watch all the programming that we have there, which is 100% real estate information and education. It is not entertainment. Our goal is to be the HDTV of real estate information, not entertainment, to help people become homeowners. And the partnership that we have with the Golden State Finance Authority as a media company has been critical in us achieving our mission as a media company and bringing awareness to down payment assistance and first-time homebuyer programs to low to moderate income communities, people of color, that all represent the lowest rate of homeownership of any group. And so that's our mission. You can go to thepowersnow.com and the footer, click on company and read our mission and vision statement. We launched on June 19th, the African American Black Homeownership Initiative, or the African American Homeownership Initiative, and with a focus on working through down payment assistance organizations like Golden State and nonprofit organizations like Covenant Church to make sure that they are aware of down payment assistance and of loan programs that can help you get into a home. Carolyn is a big part of that, and we're so happy that she is our partner both in media and in lending here at First Bank. And without any further ado, is Carolyn Censori.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I am very pleased to be a part of this homebuyer seminar today with you, Bishop Woods, and with the Powers Now Media. And it has been a journey working together, and I am really proud of how much education work we have been doing here in California. It seems like every time I go out and I speak with real estate agents, or I do a homebuyer seminar like this, we run into listeners and watchers who still have not heard of Golden State Finance Authority, do not know that there are homebuyer assistance programs out there that provide financial assistance to help you get into a home loan, whether you're a first-time home buyer or whether you are returning to the home buying market, owned a home in the past, or maybe own a home today, but you're buying a house that you're going to be living in. And so many people just still don't know about these resources. So I am extremely pleased to participate in this homebuyer seminar. And I am going to talk a little bit more about our two down payment assistance programs and provide our listeners, our watchers, some general information about how the programs work, how they can benefit you and make it even easier to purchase a home with the use of the programs, how easy they are to qualify for. But before we do that, I was wondering if you, Eric, and Bishop Woods would like to chime in on a topic I'd like to start with, which has to do with what does homeownership actually do with our to our communities? How does it stabilize our communities? And it reminds me of a study in 2016 from the National Association of Realtors, where they published a study about the many different social benefits of home ownership. And amongst them was things such as stabilizing neighborhoods, because as people own homes, they're less likely to leave neighborhoods. A positive impact on education. Again, as people are building their lives within their own local communities, they tend to also bring their children to their local schools. They get more involved in educational activities for their kids. They get involved in the community's activities. They have more of a stake in the game. It increases their civic engagement. They're more interested in what's affecting their communities and their county, and maybe being more involved in the government side, what policies and funding is impacting their neighborhood. And then there's even parts of that study that show that they're 2.5% more likely to have good health as a part of being a homeowner. There's a stability that affects our mental and physical health when we are able to create that place that gives us a sense of security, where we aren't impacted by raising rents and the possibility of having to leave or move. And that in turn also can reduce crime, because again, you're stabilizing the community, people are invested, and this study shows that there's a correlation to less crime as there's more home ownership in a community. And so I wanted to bring this topic in because you yourself, Bishop Woods, are so engaged with bringing your community together and strengthening it. And you might have something to share about why you really feel like it's important for people to not just build financial security through homeownership, but how it can also bring us together as a stronger community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I won't take up I won't take up your time because you get me on this subject. This is, this is my subject. Home ownership, it does so much for the psyche of individuals and the community, stabilizing them. I think about my own children we were fortunate that they grew up in a home, and even to this day, they link so much to their identity to that home. It's amazing. They link to their identity. They link to the good times there, a place of being, and it's just healthy for them. And the idea of not having a home is very disconcerting to them. And I was so glad through this program to be able to bring them into another family home. And I saw the glow on their face. And now they're inviting their friends over. We haven't graduated. My youngest daughter just graduated from USC with her master's in public health, and we're having a graduation party. All those things are so important. Again, it's a sense of pride and ownership. Of course, there's the financial part of it, where people anchor down with what they take care of. We take care of that which we own and have a stake in the game, not just in our individual home, but in our communities, in our cities, and want to do anything whatever we can do to make the general welfare and the general benefit of that city and in that community much better. And of course, there is the engagement in school. There's increase in tax base for our children to be better educated. All of these things, and then there's another aspect of it too, with particularly those us in the faith community as well. In order to have a stable anything, I tell people, as goes Home Depot, as goes the church. And they say, what are you talking about? What that mean? So if people are moving and fluctuating and commutable, then Home Depot is going to see that in their bottom line. And that same effect happens in the church. So people owning their home, being anchored down, they're going to be there 20 years, and then you're able to do the social portion of the church because the people are anchored there, whether that be feeding, whether that be assisting people in crisis, whether that's programs for children, it's because the people are anchored there in that community. It plays out. There's so many tentacles of it that, and it all comes from having an address that you own, having an address that you own. So I'll stop right there, but there's so many aspects of it. It's just good for the soul. I think but we put that as a hashtag. Home ownership is good for the soul. Just put it like that.
I like that. I really like that. So with that being said, we are talking about affordability and the financial aspect of getting into home ownership. And we do find that the biggest challenge is still coming up with the down payment and closing cost money that you need when you're purchasing a home. Oftentimes people hear of down payment, but they may not even realize that there's additional costs called closing costs that are involved as well. And while there's no longer that need for 20% down or 10% down, you do still have to come in with some money for down payment and for closing costs to purchase a home. And here we are in California. We've also gone through a lot of uncertainty in the last 2 years. And the average person is really challenged with saving up the money, putting $10,000, $20,000 away in savings. It could take many, many years. And so the purpose of Golden State Finance Authority, when we were developed in 1993, almost 30 years ago, was to bridge that affordability gap, to provide the money that people need in order to purchase the home, the down payment and the closing cost money. If they can afford the mortgage, if they can move from renting into a place where they can afford that payment, we are there to bridge that affordability gap. and provide them the source of down payment money. And so what I would like to do is to give an overview of our 2 down payment and closing cost assistance programs. They're called Gsfa Platinum and Gsfa Open Doors. Now keep in mind that this is general program information. For complete program guidelines, loan applications, the interest rates and APRs, those are going to be available through our participating lenders. But right here, we have Eric Frazier with First Bank on the line. He's going to talk a little bit more in depth about that lending side, and we'll leave you with his contact information, a great website to go to set up your consultation and to look into getting started today. But I'm going to give you an overview. And so with that, I'm going to use a couple of PowerPoint slides so that you can have those visuals in front of you. This will just take me a minute to get set up.
While Carolyn is getting set up, if you have any questions, you can write those in the chat room. We'll make sure that your questions are answered either during this presentation or by email after the presentation. We really appreciate those of you who are joining us. And if you're watching the pre-record or the recorded session, do not hesitate to reach out to me or Carolyn to get your questions answered. And to participate in other homebuyer seminars, go to buyhomeseminars.com. All right.
Now, Eric, are you seeing the slides or are you also seeing notes?
I'm seeing the slides. You're
okay.
good.
Okay. So I like to start out with just giving a little bit of background on Gsfa. For a lot of people who haven't heard of Gsfa, as I mentioned, we've been doing business for 29 years here in California. We've been able to help 83,900 individuals and families to purchase homes. And we've provided over $640 million in down payment assistance. So we've got the experience. We have been here doing business in California for a long time. The programs themselves actually couple a mortgage loan with down payment and closing cost assistance. And so you're going through a program when you're applying for down payment assistance. So it's important that you work with one of our participating lenders like First Bank, because you're actually applying for the mortgage loan and the down payment assistance at the same time. Now, we structure these programs to be very affordable, but flexible. Affordable meaning as competitive interest rates as we can get. And we provide this down payment and closing cost assistance for that affordability piece in buying a home. But then at the same time, we don't want to add a bunch of restrictions or additional qualification guidelines if possible. We want these to be as accessible to as many home buyers in California as possible. And so the first thing that we have been able to do is extend these programs to both first-time home buyers and people who are not first-time home buyers. So maybe you owned a home in the past. You can still apply for the down payment assistance programs through Gsfa today. In fact, if you own a home today, but you are going to be moving into a new home as your primary residence, you can use the programs to buy that new property as long as you're moving into it. The second thing is that the assistance amount that we provide is up to 7% of your loan amount. And that's a lot of funding. That's enough to help you cover the minimum requirements for down, as well as some money to help you towards your closing costs. In some cases, it means getting into a home purchase with nothing out of pocket. And if you can't get everything covered with our down payment assistance, it's going to get very close. We have very flexible income limits. The programs are structured not only to help lower income borrowers, but people in the middle income bracket too. And I'll even show you how flexible that is. Our FICO score limitation, which is one of the underwriting guidelines or one of the qualifying guidelines that we do set at Gsfa, is also really flexible. You don't have to have perfect credit. We have FICO score requirements as low as 620, which is not fair, which is in the fair credit range. There's government loans. There's also conventional financing available, and the programs are available throughout the state of California. Now, just to show you the impact of what down payment and closing cost assistance looks like, I've put an example up on the screen. Now, you may be looking to purchase a home that is less than this, but I wanted to give you an example of kind of the highest or one of the top end of the housing prices to show you how much in assistance you can get. So I'm using an example of a home with a purchase price of $652,000. And the assistance that you can qualify for is up to 7% with our programs. And that is going to get you your down payment and some closing cost money. Now, the 7% is based on the loan amount. The maximum loan that we can do in our programs is $640,250. So I've used kind of the example of the maximum if all you were using were the resources from Gsfa to help you get into that property. So with a first mortgage loan of $640,000, then $35,000 is coming from Golden State Finance Authority to cover down payment and closing costs. $22,000 of it, $22,820 would cover the minimum three. In this example, I'm using an FHA loan. So the minimum down is 3.5%. So $22,820 from Golden State Finance Authority would cover all the down payment, and it would still leave this borrower with $12,000 to put towards closing costs. $35,000 is a lot of money. If you were looking at a loan that was in the $400,000 range, you'd take 400 times 7, and that would be $28,000. So a lot of assistance is available. Now there's two programs, as I mentioned, so I'm going to quickly show you the differences, but this is where it's really important to reach out to Eric at First Bank and sit down, maybe just have a phone call conversation, maybe have a Zoom consultation with him to determine which program might be the better fit for you. The first program is called Platinum. It is our most popular program, and I think it's because of the assistance being forgiven after 3 years, never having to be paid back once you get beyond 3 years. Now with Platinum, 5% is available for down payment and closing cost money. And it's in the form of a second mortgage, like a second loan that has no interest rate, no payments, and that is completely forgiven after 3 years. Okay, so you're borrowing this money from Golden State Finance Authority with no interest on it, and after 36 months, it's completely forgiven. Now, for certain occupations that are depicted in this picture that I'm going to list, it actually comes as a gift on the first day that escrow closes. And so it's completely forgiven the day the escrow closes. Okay, and that's for certain occupations. Anyone who works in law enforcement, firefighting, paramedics, EMTs, emergency medical technicians, anyone who works in public or private schools, and anyone who works in the medical and healthcare professions. And keep in mind that this just means that you are employed in those occupations. It doesn't matter if you are a principal, an administrator, a teacher, or maybe you handle yard duty or you're a librarian. It does not matter what your position is, as long as you are working with one of these types of companies, you can qualify for the Platinum program and get all of the assistance as a gift, like completely forgiven the first day. For everyone who does not work in these occupations, that amount of money provided gets forgiven after 3 years. The minimum FICO for this program is 640. And we do allow some debt to income ratios to go pretty high, depending on your FICO, and depending on the type of mortgage loan you're looking at. And again, that's where you're going to sit down and talk to a loan officer about your specific situation. But it's very flexible. You know, the only real overlays or guidelines that we're laying here are a minimum FICO and this maximum debt to income ratio. Now, the other program is called Open Doors, and the primary difference is that it provides more in assistance, up to 7%. So if you don't have any money at all for the down or for the closing costs, the Open Doors program can provide an even bigger pool of money from Golden State Finance Authority. But the difference is that assistance is a portion of it is forgiven, and a portion does need to be repaid at a later date, either when the house is sold or the loan is refinanced, or at the end of the loan term itself, like at the end of 30 years. And it, like I said, it comes as a combination of a portion of the assistance is a gift and a portion is a second mortgage with no interest rate, no payments, but has to be repaid at some future date. The FICO score requirement on the Open Doors program goes down a little lower. So again, if you're having a hard time qualifying, this program might be a better fit than the Platinum program. It goes down to a 620 FICO score. The other general qualifying guidelines are up here on the screen. These programs are intended for the purchase of primary residences. So houses that you're going to be moving into as your primary residence, owner occupying. We do allow up to 4-unit residences though. So keep in mind that maybe it would be a good fit for you to buy a duplex so that you could rent out one side of the property and live in the other. We can even do financing on up to 4-unit residences. And these are all going to be 30-year fixed rate mortgages. We have FHA, VA, and USDA mortgages. We also have conventional financing. Our maximum loan amount, as I mentioned before, is $640,250. Now, there is nothing restricting you from using your own funds as well. If you have been able to save up some money for down and closing costs, you are welcome to use your money, but you can still apply for additional assistance from Golden State Finance Authority. And maybe that's what will help you to buy some of the more expensive properties that are going to end up being a little higher than this maximum loan amount, using your money to get that loan amount down and then using ours as well. The income limits are very flexible. As I mentioned, this is for low and moderate income families. In fact, we don't even have income limits if you're going with an FHA loan or a VA loan. And USDA, we don't set any income limits for USDA either, but their income limits are going to be on the USDA website. For conventional financing, we do have an income limit, but it is in the middle income or moderate income range. And I put up an example on the screen to show you how high that actually can go. In San Bernardino, Los Angeles, and Riverside County, we can allow someone with an income up to $162,000 to qualify for the down payment and closing cost assistance programs from Golden State Finance Authority. The actual process is very easy, especially for the lender. It is not going to slow down your escrow process. So if you're working with a real estate agent and they're a little concerned, well, this sounds like a very specialized type of loan program. You know, I don't know if the seller is going to like this kind of financing, or this could cause a bunch of things to slow down the actual purchase or escrow time period. I want you to have some confidence that we don't lay a bunch of more restrictions on it. We don't require an additional compliance package to come back to us to review. We're very upfront about the FICO and DTI, the FICO score, the debt to income ratio qualifying guidelines, our income limits, if they apply, are on our website. If the borrower has one of those special occupations, we might need to see some documentation of that to have them qualify for that platinum gift, but that's it. The rest of the process is given to the lenders. We delegate it all out to our lenders to process your mortgage loan and do your underwriting to ensure that you are prepared and can pay for that mortgage. Now, I've shared a lot of information, I've made a lot of promises, and a lot of times people feel like this is just too good to be true. And so what I would like to encourage all of you to do is to visit our YouTube channel, visit our website, and watch the actual testimonials that we have developed, where real people are sharing their experiences, just like Bishop Woods, who use these programs and can give you their story, tell you about their journey, how these programs worked, how easy they were for them, and just, I think make people feel a little bit more comfortable. Up on our YouTube channel, we have a new series called The Journey to Home Ownership. And there are 2 videos produced today that you can watch. Up here on the screen is a picture of Edwin and his wife Blanca from San Joaquin County. We also did an interview with the Jeffersons on the right here. That's also available on the Powers Now Media, as well as on the GSFA website and YouTube channels. Now, how do you get started? This is the last words from me before I turn it over to Eric Frazier. We want you to work with one of our approved or participating lenders. That's extremely important because Eric, who works with First Bank, is experienced in the program. He can furnish the interest rates and the annual percentage rates. He can check your eligibility, determine your specific needs, how much assistance you might need, which program is going to be the better fit for you, and just walk you through the entire process. And in fact, there's no obligation. You can call, ask questions. He has a website called buyhomeseminars.com. You can set up a consultation with him and just talk about the subject, talk about homeownership. Is it possible for you? Our contact information for Golden State Finance Authority is also on the screen. We have a toll-free number, and we also have a website, gsfahome.org. And I encourage you to follow us. As I mentioned, we're on social media. We're also on YouTube. So feel free to reach out to myself with additional questions, but get in contact with Eric at First Bank. If you are at any point thinking you want to pursue homeownership, you want to find out if this is the right fit for you, can this down payment assistance help you purchase today rather than having to wait another 3 or 4 or 5 years while you are still trying to save up money for the down payment? The purpose of down payment and closing cost assistance is to get people into homes sooner than they thought possible, sooner than if they had to save up that money. It's that piece, that missing piece that is so challenging for all of us. Even if we can afford a rent that is equal to a mortgage, we still have to come up with that source of funding for down and closing. And that's where Golden State Finance Authority is here to help you.
Carolyn, you always do a fantastic job in talking about the Golden State Finance Authority and its programs. I wanted to ask you a question before I move into my presentation, and that is about multiple unit properties. And a lot of people don't understand that that could be, it's not intuitive. You know, you think, okay, a single family home is selling for $600,000, a 2-unit property is selling for, you know, $700,000 or something like that, right? And so the more money costs more money down, but it actually gives them the more money to qualify with because of that added unit. Your program is unique in that you allow up to multiple units to be financed as an owner occupant in one of the units.
We do. You can do an FHA loan and go all the way up to a 4-unit residence. And as Eric mentioned, in the lender's qualifying or the loan process, also known as like underwriting, they are able to look at the income that can be generated through those additional units and use that as a part of your qualifying income for the purchase of that property.
Now, this would be a good time before my transition to have Bishop Woods to talk about his experience and his daughter's experience in terms of the money that they were able to save in doing it. So Bishop, you've heard the presentation now a couple of times. First, I'd say this is real, right? This is real.
Show me the money. You sure showing it. Yeah, it's real.
So to speak to, you know, the savings that you and Bria experienced briefly in using this money.
Well, Susan said some very interesting things. In my own case, I was able to purchase a new home, and I had some money. I had money saved up towards a home, and this home was about the 4th home I bought over the course of my life. But it was coming back into the home, home ownership market after a few years, and I was able to use the money that was given in the down payment assistance and towards my down payment, and then the money that I had saved, I was able to renovate the home, to my taste, and it's very, very comfortable. It was just win-win, and I didn't have to go into any take any other loans out for home improvement.
Mhm.
I just was able to pay out of pocket, pay contractors, and get that done, and it's very comfortable. With my daughter, Bria, she was able to take the money she had saved very diligently and saved quite a bit, and she had the money for her closing costs, and the down payment assistance allowed her to take care of some of the other needs for this home.
Mhm.
And then the beauty of it as well is that she was able to buy a home, a new home. Basically, it was 1 year old in Fresno. It's like, wow, I should have got her house, you know. Beautiful granite, marble, granite countertops, everything, you know. And so she didn't have to do a whole lot of renovating. So she was able to keep some money in her pocket,
Mhm.
you know. She was able to keep some money in her pocket after all is done. And who does that? You know, when does that happen? You know,
Right.
you buy a new home and you have some money in your pocket afterwards, you know. So it just really, really worked out. And the credibility of the program with the real estate agents that my daughter worked with, it actually helped through the process because they knew that the Golden State Finance Authority was legitimate, and she was, because of that money that was already earmarked by this organization, that she was able to buy her house with her before it even went on the market.
Wow.
The owners negotiated, and it never went on the market.
Wow.
Because she had the money from the Golden. She was able to say that she had the money secured from Golden State and from this program, and so they didn't even put it on the market. We were able to negotiate the price, which was a fair price, and it went straight through the process smoothly with no problem. It was just really a wonderful situation, particularly for her as a first-time homeowner, not having to go through the wrangling and the disappointments of not getting in this seller's market. You know, she didn't have to do any of that. So this was great. It was great. So I'm a believer. You know.
You know, what I like about your story, and Carolyn, I'm sure you can relate to this, is that in Bishop Woods and his daughter, we have two really good examples. First, Bishop not being a first-time home buyer. And so this program is for people who want to move up or downsize, that kind of thing, or maybe they were in and they're out for maybe a year or two. Now they want to get in. And then his daughter is, in fact, a first-time home buyer. And did she not buy a 2-unit property, Bishop, or was it a single family?
A single family.
Single family. All right, a single family home. And in both cases, by the way, First Bank and Eric Frazier assisted them in this in the first mortgage, and in collaboration with the Golden State Finance Authority for the down payment assistance. Michelle Dupree assisted you in acquiring your property. Michelle Dupree was supposed to be with us today, could not make it, but she is an extraordinary agent out of Fisher Realtors in Richmond, California. And so what are the best of both worlds we have here with Bishop Woods, right, Carolyn?
Yes, I agree. And I'm not sure what you had, what you were going to share next, Eric, but I did want to mention again that website to reach you.
Okay. Yeah. So if you are interested in having a consultation with me, go to neverrentagain.com. In fact, I'm going to share my screen in just a minute here with all those websites, but neverrentagain.com gives you an opportunity to schedule an appointment, to apply if you want to. You can actually apply online, and that's really the best situation. To apply online, it takes maybe 10 minutes to complete an application online, and then to schedule an appointment. And that way, when we meet, because when you do the application online, it runs your credit report. We can have a discussion, a real discussion about your credit, about your income, about everything, and what the possibilities are of you getting approved and for how much. So neverrentagain.com. and get scheduled with me to talk in detail about your unique situation, because everybody's situation is different. Carolyn and I did a pre-interview yesterday with a single individual, and what a story she has, and how she got herself ready to become a homeowner. And that may be your case too. You may not be ready today, right now, but to be able to have that consultation with me, I can make sure you're on the path to homeownership.
Yeah, I'd like to bring it back to what Bishop Woods said at the beginning, you know, where it was about motivation, about taking that step and realizing that this opportunity is here for you too, because some people have financial situations or that are concerning to them, or that they question whether they could really become a homeowner because of maybe a financial challenge. Maybe they need to build their credit back up, or maybe there are some in collections. You know, there's all kinds of situations where I think people tend to self-diagnose and decide, oh, I will never be able to be a homeowner, or I'm not ready yet. And they could be wrong. What we have learned from doing these interviews that we've done lately is that most of us have unique situations in our lives, experiences we've been through, and there's a lot more flexibility than people think out there. And the only way you're going to know where you are and where you stand today is to actually talk to a lender, talk to Eric with First Bank, and find out, do you need to work on some things? What do you need to get started? What do you need to do to prepare? The sooner that you find that out, the sooner that you can start doing those. Because the housing market in California is continuing to increase. The prices are increasing. And so when are you going to get started if you don't start now? So I encourage people to not self-diagnose, but to find out where they stand and then start working on whatever it is to get prepared.
Absolutely, Carolyn. And we certainly hope that everyone will get the information that's readily available to them. It is available. I'm here to support you. Carolyn is here to support you. Bishop Woods is a living testimony, and he can support you in your dreams of home ownership. And this seminar, again, folks, this is Covenant Worship's seminar. And we certainly hope that every member at Covenant is watching this. It will be also available, again, on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV. It'll be, Bishop, you guys gonna put it on your website or something? I mean, we're gonna make sure we get this out.
Put it on website. We're gonna text the links to it and make sure everybody gets it. I'll get them ready. I want everybody in my church, everybody in my community, everybody can be homeowners, because that is how we build our wealth.
Yes.
And as was said earlier, our spiritual wealth as well.
Yes.
Our psychological wealth as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we are running a little bit past time. It's my turn, and I'm going to do an abbreviated presentation. I know, Bishop, you have another engagement. Folks, we're live right now, and Bishop has another engagement, and it's some marriage counseling. You know, Bishop, I just celebrated 40 years of marriage.
Wow.
And so I have much respect for couples who will make the effort to get into counseling, right? Because it is a lifetime commitment. Trust me, I know it. My wife reminds me of it. So I'm going to, what I'd like to do actually, so that you're not late for that engagement, I'm going to turn it back over to you and give you opportunity for your final comments. And then for those of you who can hang in there with me, I'm going to spend another maybe 10 or 15 minutes going over one other program that could make a difference in homeownership for you. So Bishop Woods, any final comments before we let you do the spiritual work that you need to do today?
Well, again, thank you. And it's always my pleasure to be a part of this broadcast. I love a good testimony. And this is my testimony that this process has worked. And I've been not only telling the members of our church, and I've been telling my family members, I've been directing friends, and some of them have been qualified through this process. I have friends in the medical field and in the public service sectors that have been directed that way. And I'm telling them, hey, you buy a home and you can get the down payment forgiven the day of escrow. Why wouldn't you want to do that? I mean, it's just a wonderful thing, and we've got to get the word out more. So I pray that everyone that's on the line is doing that, to share this. And I'm going to redouble my efforts to share it, because again, this is how we build wealth. I was talking with someone the other day, and this is a very real thing for people of color, and for most people. Most people do not have enough money to invest in the stock market to the degree that they could realize the kind of income that they see from hedge fund managers and all these different ones. You don't have enough seed money to start, So the best you can get in is with your 401k or your company retirement, which will be enough to carry you through your golden years. But how most people of color, and we think about our ancestors and those who come before us, have gained wealth is through real estate. I think of my grandfathers, who were moderately educated men who were able to, own 5 and 6 properties and multi-units through income, working, regular jobs. Those are real things. So that model works in our community. Mm-hmm. And if enough of us grab hold of that model and push towards that model, I believe that when the tide rises, and everybody in the boat rises, so it's rising. So let's make sure that we're in the boat. So thank you all. I appreciate you having me on, and I can't wait till we do it again.
Thank you, Bishop Woods. And I want to encourage everyone who is in the Berkeley area to go to Covenant Church. They are a dynamic church, a growing church. Bishop is an awesome pastor, speaker, leader, motivator. Now, Bishop, I need to get you on the speaking circuit on real estate lending.
Hey, I'm always ready. I've got dexterity. I'm always ready for new industry. Okay.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to your leadership in the African American Homeownership Initiative, a wealth initiative,
yes,
in which we are focusing on Black churches throughout California and all other 50 states. And so thank you for being a part of this initiative. And we're looking for more pastors like Bishop Wood who would like to be a part of this initiative. If you're interested, please reach out to me at eric.frazier@thepowersnow.com, or you can call me directly at 714-475-8629. We cannot have enough pastors like Bishop Woods that's willing to take the mantle and run with it, and to ensure that their members are aware of this tremendous opportunity to get the help they need to buy a home. And it's not just the down payment assistance, but we're providing support in just about all the other areas that may be stumbling blocks to your ability to buy a home. So again, Bishop Wood, thank you so much for your time today, and good luck with the next session here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. Well, folks, it's my turn now, and I'm going to be talking about the programs that First Bank has to offer. And let me share my screen here so you can see. First, as Carolyn mentioned, we have a way for you to reach out to me, and that is at eric.frazier@thepowersnow.com or eric.frazier@fbol.com. In addition to being, again, the host and president of the Powers Now Media, I'm also a vice president with First Bank Mortgage. And First Bank is a national lender. And so in case you're watching this outside of California, no worries. There's only 5 states we don't lend in. And that would be Alaska, Hawaii, Cook County, Illinois, Maryland, and the 5 boroughs of New York. And so those are the areas that we don't lend in. Everywhere else, we lend. And so if you are interested in connecting with me, please download my mobile app. You can get it at qualifiedtobuynow.com, qualifiedtobuynow.com. You can schedule an appointment to meet with me at it'stimetomeet.com, or you can start the application process right online at applytobuynow.com, and or you can schedule a time and also take the application online at neverrentagain.com. So I am here. I'm available to support you in every way. First Bank is a lender, is an approved lender with the Golden State Finance Authority and with several other down payment assistance programs. And so if you are interested in getting down payment assistance and we want to learn more about down payment assistance, I am here to help you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you. As I mentioned, I'm the president and CEO of the Powers Now Media, and I can't encourage you enough to go to our website, thepowersnow.com. The Powers Now is an actual network, and so you can find programming playing 24/7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on our website. These are shows about real estate, homeownership, and we have everything from the series we've done with the Golden State Finance Authority to the new series we just started with Journeys to Homeownership. It's right there on the Powers Now TV. We have been broadcasting and sharing information about homeownership since 2009. So we're not a Johnny-come-lately platform. We have been in it for a minute, and we are absolutely committed to making homeownership a reality for everyone. We really are. And we do that through radio, podcasts, TV, magazines, online events like this, and advocacy. A little bit about me. I have been married for 40 years, as I mentioned to Bishop. I got 4 daughters, all of which are homeowners, 3 grandkids, which will be homeowners. You know, they're so fortunate, those grandkids, they don't ever have to worry about down payment assistance because their aunts and uncles and their parents will pull it together to provide for them. But we're going to have them use it anyway, because that's just more money to put down or to cover other costs or pay off other bills. I'm born in Tennessee, live in Riverside for the last 20 years. I'm a graduate of Redlands University with an undergrad in business administration and management, a master's in business administration with an emphasis in finance. I've been a banker for 40 years, and I love what I do, folks. That's why I've been at it so long. 30 years as a real estate agent, 20 years as a broker. My wife and I started Frazier Group Realty, a family-owned real estate. All of our kids, by the way, are involved in the real estate business. And that's why we started it. We started the company to manage our own properties. And that's how we taught our kids about real estate. Now, the foundation to building real estate or to building wealth is to buy real estate now and to buy it where you live. That's so important. So again, go to applytobuynow.com and get started right away. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you do it now. If you wait to do it, it's just going to cost you more money. And if it costs you more money, it is because you waited. You waited. And I've done some graphs, some slide presentations, some presentations in the past where I've talked about that, where people have waited way too long to get started with home ownership. And as a result of that, they're not able to buy. And they've been completely priced out. And so I want to go over a couple of programs that you should take in consideration. The Golden State Finance Authority program does not go above $647,200. That is a maximum loan amount that you can do with the Golden State Finance Authority, whether it be the Open Door program or the Platinum program. And so there's another program that's available with the California Housing Finance Agency. And there's some pretty significant differences between the program. And it may make the difference between you being able to leverage that program or not. The primary difference is between the Golden State program and, say, the California Housing Finance Agency program is that you have to be a first-time home buyer. Now, there are some exceptions to that rule, but for the most part, you have to be a first-time home buyer. If you want to know what the exceptions are, reach out to me and we can talk about it. we may be able to still get you in. So that's a really big difference between the Golden State Finance Authority and the California Housing Finance Agency. You have to be a first-time home buyer. The second difference is the loan amount. The California Housing Finance Agency will go up to $970,800, folks. $970,800. Can you imagine getting 3.5% in down payment assistance on buying a home that costs that much? You would think that if you can afford to buy a home that costs that much, you don't need down payment assistance. But that may not be the case here in California. It's so expensive to live out here that people need down payment assistance just to buy, you know, a $900,000 or $1 million property. They can do it. And the California Finance Agency, if you're a first-time home buyer, is willing to give you 3.5% as down payment assistance. Now, it's not a loan. It's not a gift. It is a loan. And that is another big difference between the two. With the California Housing Finance Agency, they'll give you a loan for 3.5%. The rate today is, I believe, 1%. You don't have to pay it back until you sell the house or you refinance. They will not subordinate. So if you refinance or you sell the house, you got to pay it back. The other option would be when you pay off the mortgage. So 30 years later, and it's all paid off, then you have to pay it back. So imagine, you know, 3.5% on 900,000. What is that? About $31,000 that is available to you. That's a lot of money. Now, that's just for the down payment, and it's 3.5% on an FHA loan. If you want a conventional loan, then it's 3%. So on 900,000, that's $27,000. Again, same rules. You don't have to pay it back, but you do have to pay interest, about 1%. That's what it is today. But there's no payments. You don't have to pay it back until you sell the house or refinance the house or pay off the mortgage. So that's their down payment assistance. And the difference between the down payment assistance that the California Housing Finance Agency is providing and the Golden State Finance Agency on particularly the Platinum program is that the Platinum program money is completely forgiven after 3 years. The Golden State Open Door program, half of that on the average is forgiven, immediately. It's a gift. And the other half, you have to, pay it back over the life of the loan. I mean, you don't have to make payments, but once the loan is paid off, you have to pay it back. Same rules. Once you refinance, you have to pay it back, or you sell the property, you have to pay it back. So the same rules in terms of when you have to pay it back on the loan side apply to both. So with the Golden State, though, it's 5%. It can be as high as 7% on the Platinum program. With the My Home program with the California Housing Finance Agency, they'll go to $970,800, but you're capped out at 3.5% in down payment assistance. But they also have ZIP, zero interest program. That program will give you 3% in closing cost assistance. And so the total combined assistance is 6.5%. 6.5% on an FHA loan, which is pretty significant. Now you're still talking about that $900,000 mortgage. 6% is, what is that, 54,000? Another 0.5%, 45. So almost, what is that, 54 plus another 5%, almost $60,000. That's a lot of money that you're being assisted in buying a home. So if you're looking for the higher loan amounts, this might be the way to go with the California Housing Finance Agency. It will get you into higher priced properties. It gives you money for closing costs and money for down payment assistance. Both cases, though, the money has to be paid back. Unlike the Golden State Platinum program, that money, doesn't have to be paid back. After 3 years, it's completely forgiven. And in some cases, if you qualify as a first responder, it is forgiven immediately. And so that has been one of the programs that I've had to kind of call an audible, if you will, for the football fans out there, for my clients who want the Golden State, but they're looking to buy in Oakland or, Costa County or Berkeley, and they just need more money. So we have to pivot to the California Housing Finance Agency program. So the differences are pretty significant. You got to be a first-time home buyer, right? Not all, none of the money is forgiven. You got to pay it all back. And the FICO score requirements are higher also. So on a conventional product is 680, unless you meet the low to moderate income limit. If you're within that low to moderate income limit, 80% of the area median income, they'll go from 680 to 660. And then for FHA, the FICO scores are 640, whereas you can be as low as 620 for the open door program, 640 for the platinum program. So the FICO scores can be a little bit more restrictive on the California Housing Finance Agency program. And that could be, that may require you to do some credit work before we move in that direction if you're needing down payment assistance. Now, First Bank also has a grant program. If you're buying in California and you're using a standard FHA program, we can give you up to $7,500 as a grant to buy a home. That money can be used for the down payment, or it can be used for closing costs. Your income can exceed the 80% of the area median income based on family size. And they also take in consideration the income of all members in the household. And so you want to take that into consideration. This grant is not a loan, it is just a grant. And again, it is for first-time home buyers. It's for the low to moderate income communities that want to get into a home. And it's a great program. Again, free money if you meet the qualifications. Now, as you can see, there's a lot of moving parts. You need to sit down with a mortgage advisor. And that's what I am, folks. I'm a mortgage advisor. I'm not here to sell you anything. Honestly, I wouldn't know what to sell you. I got to get to know you first if I wanted to sell you anything. And then there's nothing to sell. You do want to buy a house, right? And so we just need to find a program that fits you, that fits your circumstances, that will help you get into a home as quickly as possible. And here's the reason why we need to do it as quickly as possible. Interest rates are rising. And as well as interest rates are rising, programs are changing. The guidelines for both the Golden State program and the California Housing Finance program and the Home Start program at First Bank, these guidelines can change overnight, literally overnight. The amount of down payment assistance that is available to you is market driven in most cases. And that can also change literally overnight. What was 5% or 7% today could be 1 or 2% tomorrow. So time is of the essence. In addition to that, as you can see, market prices are just continuing to rise. Even though rates are rising, many think that if rates continue to rise, prices will fall. We're not seeing that at all. And the reason we're not seeing that is because there's simply not enough homes for sale for increased rates, which along with increased rates comes decreased demand. Yes, so people are getting priced out. They're getting payment out because they can't afford the payment, can't afford to buy now in their areas, and so they're out. But there's just way too many people who are still in the game that's keeping that demand. I just had an offer accepted just last week, and there were like 10 offers on that property. And here rates are a full 1% higher than they were a couple months ago. So time is of the essence. Please take this information very seriously. Please reach out to me at neverrentagain.com, or you can go to applytobuynow.com, which is what I recommend. Apply to buy now, just get started. Complete the application. If you go to neverrentagain.com, you'll be able to complete the application and schedule an appointment with me. I have so many options available, or you can just call me, 714-475-8629, and I'd be happy to meet with you via Zoom. We'll do a Zoom meeting on the comfort of your home, and we can get started talking about what is it going to take for you to become a home owner. And that's my abbreviated presentation. You haven't seen it that short, have you, Carolyn?
I'm really glad that you left that contact information, and that's what I would encourage as well as a closing, as we close this, is to get started now, to find out now where your situation is, what you need to do, what kind of prices you're looking at, where your finances are, because it's just going to continue to get harder as California gets more and more unaffordable. And so You have this opportunity, as Bishop Wood said, you have this opportunity in front of you. Now what you do with it is up to you.
Carolyn, what a perfect ending to this great seminar. What you do with it is up to you. We've shared the information. We've provided access to the information. You know what the guidelines are. The help is available. Now is the time to do it. The power is now to buy. The power is now to start working on your credit, start saving money, start paying off debt. You can do it. You can do it, and help is available. Carolyn, was that your final word? If so, that's your final word. All right. Then, folks, we're going to bid you farewell on this beautiful Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Please look out for more seminars at Covenant Worship, a Covenant Church. And please check out Bishop Wood's church in Berkeley, California. He's a dynamic gospel preacher, spiritual leader. He can assist you in your spiritual journey as well as in your homeownership journey. And I'm so glad that Bishop Woods and Covenant Church have made, homeownership a part of their ministry, where they are creating opportunities like this, about every quarter for their members to get this information and to become homeowners. And if you are a pastor, please join Carolyn and I as we try to reach out to churches across the state of California and to put on seminars just like this. And here's the benefit for you. Not only is it a live event, like we're live right now on Zoom, but this will be then rebroadcast on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, all mobile devices, all social media platforms. It's great exposure for your church and your ministry. And it's just a great way for the church to really get connected with their community, to show that, yes, we're concerned about your soul. We are, but we're also concerned about your earthly dwelling place, your home, being a homeowner and bringing the stability and all the benefits that Carolyn spoke about in the beginning of her presentation that are so important to families today. It's more than just brick and mortar, right? It is home. And in fact, Carolyn, for my final word today, I'm going to share a poem that I wrote about homeownership. And we're going to end on this note. And for those of you who like poetry, in addition to being a banker, I'm a poet. And you can go to ericfrazier.com and you can check out my books of poetry, ericfrazier.com. On page 67 in my book entitled The Barbershop, Poetry in Many Styles, I am writing a book. I wrote a poem about homeownership, and it goes like this. Homeownership brings stability to individuals and families who have never had a dwelling place they could call their own. There is something special about real estate that's unlike anything on earth you can possess. Real estate you own is not a car that will decay over time and you have to replace it. Real estate you own is not like clothes that go out of style and you have to buy new ones. Real estate you own is not like expensive vacations or experiences that only last a moment in time. Real estate you own is not like an apartment where the landlord increases the rent until it's unaffordable. Real estate you own is not like staying at your parents' house where you know you can't stay forever. Homeownership is the beginning of wealth, wealth that increases over time, becomes your estate and legacy. Homeownership is the pride of a mother nurturer. The kitchen is her domain. Homeownership is the pride of a father, protector and provider of his territory and family. Homeownership is the foundation of permanence and a place where life happens. The birthdays are celebrated and death is mourned. Homeownership is a place where you build memories, memories that can be never taken from you, etched in walls and concrete, experienced in rooms and floors, living in trees and shrubs planted by your hands. Homeownership is the manifestation of you, your style, your colors, your smell, your stuff, your junk, your memories, your yard, your spaces, your life. It is the height markers on your first child's bedroom wall. It is the hearts drawn in the concrete slabs when you poured your patio floor. It is the birthday parties and anniversaries in the living room and kitchen. It is a backyard barbecue with friends, neighbors, and family connections. It is a high school and college graduations and wedding receptions. It is a family night and block parties and fellowship of family reunions. Homeownership, it is more than real estate, land, brick and mortar, wood frame, construction, and chicken wire. It is more than the money saved, gifts and grants received. It is more than the debt you incur to buy it. It is more than the payments you make to own it. It is more than the appreciation that comes with keeping it over time. It is memories, it is family, it is life that can happen in one place that you own until you say it's time to move. Homeownership. Thank you for watching today. Have a great day. Remember, the power is now.